Good morning, friends, and I hope you are well and you had a great weekend. Today, we are going to start a new project. Um, Please, if you have not brought in your Square One art project, please do so. They need to be brought in by October 1st. So please bring those in. There's a drop box outside the art studio that you can put it in. Make sure the form is filled out correctly and that your name is on the back of your artwork and also on the form that I'll be connecting it to. There's a small video in the Google Classroom that explains all of that, and you can find that under resources. So today, friends, we are going to start something that is hard. I'm going to just be blunt and tell you that it's going to be difficult, but it's really, really cool, and I think you're going to enjoy it. You're just going to have to really pay attention and put on your thinking cap and really focus and concentrate on what you're doing. This is going to be a two-part lesson. Today, we're going to talk about flextangles and what they are. I'm going to talk to you about how to create the design on your flextangles. Then the next week, we'll talk about how it's going to be constructed. So just bear in mind that this is going to be a two-part lesson. Okay, so let's start with our mantra, and hopefully that'll get us nice and focused for our lesson. So here we go. Repeat after me. I am an artist. I create with my hands. I create with my heart. I create with my head. I can create anything. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen with you so we can talk about the world of flextangles. And here we go. Now, flextangles are combining art and math. So that's, first of all, that's really cool that we get to do math and art and vice versa. So flextangle, what is it? Well, a flextangle is a combination of a hexaflexagon and a zentangle design. And I don't know about you, but that's a lot of jargon there. So let's kind of break that down. So a zentangle is a type of meditative drawing that uses, structured patterns like lines and curves and dots and orbs to make designs. These designs are called tangles. And the big difference between, like if you're in class and you're just like doodling and like zentangle are a bit more mindful. So you're focused on what you're doing. It's kind of a new fad thing that people have started doing to help with meditation and things like that. Sometimes it brings a lot of relaxation. There's a lot of repetition and so forth in creating zentangles. And you see here at the bottom of my screen a couple of examples of zentangles. Great. So what's a hexaflexagon? Well, flexagons are flat paper polygon models that are made by folding strips of paper. And you might wonder, well, what's a polygon? And a polygon is a two-dimensional shape. They're made of straight lines and they are closed shapes, meaning that all the lines connect. There are no openings. So there's a few different kinds of polygons, but the two that I want to talk to you about are regular polygons and irregular polygons. So regular polygons have equal sides and equal angles. So a very common regular polygon is a triangle. It has 3 sides right here and 3 angles, and all of those are equal. So Tri meaning 3 sides and 3 angles. So a quadrilateral is a square, or can be a square. It has equal sides and equal angles. So there's 4 sides, quad, meaning 4. All right? There's a pentagon, there's a pentagon, a hexagon with 6 sides, and then the octagon with 8 sides and angles. If you look at the irregular polygons, this is still called an octagon, but it's an irregular octagon. It has, the sides are not equal and the angles are not equal. All right, so in order for it to be a regular polygon, you have to have equal sides and equal angles. For it to be irregular, you have to have unequal sides and unequal angles. And remember, all the sides are straight. They're not curved. Are you with me? Okay. So flexagons can be folded or flexed in certain ways to review multiple faces. And friends, this is what we're calling a face right here, all right? These triangles that have been created right here. We are creating a hexaflexagon. So that tells us it has 6 sides and 6 faces, all right? So the name of the flexagon tells the flexagon shape and the number of faces the model it can display when it's flexed. So here you can see this one is starting to get pushed or flexed, so you can see the different faces. Oops. I wanted to include this picture because it shows you kind of like what your template looks like. But here you can see when it's put together, these shapes are drawn real simple. When they're put together, they create shapes in the center. So when it looks like this, they just look like half circles or half squares or half letter M's or mountains or whatever. But when they're put together, they create full-on shapes. Okay? So we have 4 learning targets to help guide our learning. The first learning target is that I can design at least 4 different and interesting Zentangles. So it's more than just a doodle, remember? It's something that has a little bit of structure and that you're mindful when you're doing it, meaning that you have a direction more or less that you're going in. That I can use good craftsmanship when creating my flexagon. So craftsmanship is the manner and way you create your artwork. So how neat or sloppy it might be. I can cut and fold paper to create a flexagon that rotates when the outer points are pushed to the center. So actually being able to create the object effectively and have it move the way that it needs to move in order to create the different faces. And hopefully you can make some connections between art and math. You can remember about polygons and the prefixes of the polygons that help describe or that describe the sides of shapes. All right, so let's get started. In your art pack this week, you received a flextangle template, which was copied on cardstock. You also received some colored pencils. They're either rubber banded like this or in a package. The things that you'll need from home are a pencil, an eraser, and a fine line Sharpie marker. Now, if you don't have a fine line Sharpie marker, if you have a black ballpoint pen or blue ballpoint pen, that's fine, okay? But, or you could, I guess, even use your black colored pencil, right? But we're going to use this Sharpie marker to outline things in our work. The first thing I want to tell you is please do not cut this out yet. We will cut it out at a different time. The other thing I want you to notice is that in each triangle, you can see here, all right? In each triangle, you'll see these tick marks, all right? You can see this one here and this one here. They're at the top of the triangle and at the bottom of the triangle. Those are important, friends, all right? Those are going to tell you where your design starts and where it ends. You're also going to see here that each row is labeled A, B, C, or D. So this, friends, is all A. Sometimes what I like to do is just lightly write A in all these spots and all these triangles so that I know that whatever design I start here, I'm going to carry it all the way through. So I'm just going to start by quickly kind of organizing my work here. Here's my C. And here's my D. And I can erase this later or just write it light enough so that I don't see it. The other thing I like to do sometimes is just maybe make these a little bit bigger, but I'm going to leave that up to you, all right? So you may have remembered that one slide I showed you that was made up of those simple shapes. Well, what this tells you is that if I start something here and end it here, when I go to flex my flexagon, it will actually make a shape in the process. So I'm going to find, all right, so if I look here, if you see where these lines are, all right, that is where those tick marks were. And so now a new shape is created with those marks. If I look here, again, you can see these orange lines, how they more or less connect, all right? Those tick marks were telling me, now I've made a new shape here, I've made a new shape here, and I've made a new shape here, and that helps create that idea. These are some other examples that were made, all right? This one hasn't been put together yet, but I just want to show you real quick. If you look at just this part of it, all right, this is where the two tick marks are, here and here. So this allowed this artist to make new shapes within that piece. This is what they look like individually, all right? And then when they start to come together, you can see that they start to create new shapes, all right? So that's why they are important. So what I'm going to do in these spots in this whole letter A row is create a pattern, all right? My Zentangle pattern. So this is my entire pattern right here. It almost looks like a bow tie, all right? So this is what my pattern is going to look like. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to start real simple. I'm going to start by making a zigzaggedy line. And I'm going to do this in pencil so that, of course, I can erase if need be. All right? So I'm just going to make these zigzaggedy lines, and then I'm going to make another curved line here. So I need to repeat that over here. So I'm going to do my zigzaggy line the best I can to repeat it, and then there we go. So now when it's folded together, it will make a new shape. Now I need to repeat this idea here. So I'm going to start at this tick mark, and I'm going to make a zigzaggy line. And I'm just going to keep going until I finish with this whole pattern line. You can see where I'm starting and stopping at the tick marks, all right? So I'm always starting with a curved line here and here, and now I go to my short zigzaggy line and my long zigzaggy line. Now you can make these patterns as complex and difficult as you want them to be. Sometimes it's really fun to have some super complex patterns, okay? Like if you look at this one, all right? Sometimes it's fun to have some super complex patterns, and then it's kind of fun to have some patterns that are maybe just about color and not as complex. So it's up to you. I think I might add a little bit more information in this one and have these lines come out. Oops. Like that. All right. It's really as complex as you want to make it. Now I have to remember to do the same thing here, because when they're connected, I will see that new shape that is developed over here. All right. So now I'm ready to go to B, and I'll continue creating my pattern, something different, right? So maybe what I'm going to do is a big curved line like this, and curved line going the opposite way like that. So I'm going to do a big curved line like this, and a big curved line going the opposite way. Oops, I need to get those two connected. Just like that. Okay, so now you can kind of see this is what my pattern is looking like. All right, so I have this little circle that's going to happen here, and this big circle is going to kind of happen in the middle. So little, big, right? Just like that. And you can see I'm just going to keep continuing. Now I'm probably going to break this down a little bit more, just so that it's a little bit more interesting. I'm going to add another circle here. I'm going to add another circle here. And I'm just going to keep going with that. Now, what I like to tell my students is that if you make a really big shape, that's a great way to start, and then you can break that shape down into smaller bits, kind of like what we see here with this. I mean, this could be left all white, right? But that would be kind of boring. So what this person did is they made kind of like these fish scales here to make it more interesting, right? So I'm gonna do this, and I think I'm actually gonna put one more so it's like a bullseye. Okay, And then I can always add more information later if I wanted to. Now, once you have all your patterns done, you see how this goes all the way through and this one goes all the way through. You see how this one goes all the way through, so forth, all right? Once I have that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my Sharpie marker and I'm going to just outline things. And again, if you don't have a Sharpie marker, you can use your black colored pencil, or you can use a black ballpoint pen or a blue ballpoint pen. This is just going to make my designs stand out a little bit more. Now, I just realized one thing. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create this. Oh, okay. I'm just going to use my orange then instead. I had a little color pencil malfunction. I'm going to color the center part of my design here orange. Now, friends, when I color with my colored pencil, one thing I really like to do is I like to color kind of like in circles. And I like to use the side of my colored pencil. If I use the top part of my colored pencil, what happens is I start getting these lines that kind of get ingrained into my paper. If I use circles, it offers more coverage and allows me a little bit better control. You see how I'm just kind of rotating my pencil? It allows me to control my pencil a little bit more instead of going back and forth with these big motions. Now, the reason I'm showing you this part first is because I know that I want to come back with my Sharpie marker and I want to make some really thin lines over the top. And so trying to color in between those lines can be difficult. So I decided I'm just going to color this big part in, and then I'm going to just do the lines over it. Makes sense to me, right? So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I started with orange here, so I need to go with orange here in order to make that pattern. And again, I am using the side of my colored pencil. And so I'll go through the same steps of outlining this and putting the thin lines on the inside. Now, the other really cool thing about colored pencils is that you can blend them really well. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, I'm going to finish this real quick. And then I'm going to show you how to blend colored pencils. All right, so let's say here I'm going to take a color like this light green. Actually, I'm going to take this light green color, and I'm going to start by just rotating again my colored pencil. I'm going to start with the lightest color I want to use first if I'm mixing two colors. That's so that you'll actually be able to see the light color, because if I try to go with a light color over a dark color, sometimes it doesn't really show up. So I'm just going to continue here. Keep going. I'm moving kind of quickly because I don't want you to get too bored. All right, so now I'm going to take my turquoise pencil, this blue pencil, and go over the top of it. And I'm going to blend these colors together. Just like that. And it makes a new kind of more complex color than if I were just to use these colors on their own. So I want to challenge you to try to create some new colors with your colored pencils. Don't just be stuck with one color, all right? Try to use a mixture of them. And now, since I have done this here, I need to do it here as well, because I'm creating that pattern. All right? So I will continue with this until I have the whole thing filled up, and it might look something like this when I'm all done. And you see too how this person used the Sharpie marker to color certain things in, right? And you see how this person used it more as a way to outline their objects. All right? So the next time I see you, this is as far as I want you to be. Actually, I don't even want you to cut it out yet. I want you to be at the point where you have your pattern drawn and colored in. All right? That's where I want you to be. So remember to create your pattern all the way through to the other side. Remember to repeat your colors as what you're doing. Start first by making your first idea here, and then repeat that in the next diamonds as you're going through the template. All right. Remember the tick marks, starting your pattern at the tick mark and ending it at the tick mark. Remember, you can break larger patterns down by putting smaller lines and ideas inside them. These are some really good examples of that on this. And remember to challenge yourself with creating new colors. Don't just be stuck using the color straight out of the colored pencil. Try to mix some together. You might notice that these are made out of markers. I'm going to ask you not to use markers, all right, except for outlining, all right? Or if you're going to color in large black solid areas, to use your Sharpie marker. Okay, friends, we are going to end with a mindfulness activity. If you could get to a spot and just kind of sit quietly for a second. I want you to think about sometimes when you might need to take a break from something, that you might be upset about something. Some people say, hey, let's take 5, all right? Well, this is an exercise that will allow you to do that. So it'll give you a moment to calm down. So as you breathe in, I want you to think to yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you breathe out, I want you to think to yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is what it's like. I'm going to breathe in. 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll breathe in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I'm doing this, I can actually feel my shoulders go up and go down. And I'm going to try to keep them down and relax. So I'm going to go in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you're breathing out, you can think about just having all of your energy that might be excited or a little bit negative, just kind of drain out of you when you get to 5. So breathe in one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. I cannot wait to see what these are going to look like. Once you have finished with the design and the coloring, please take a picture of it and either send it to me in the classroom, in the Google Classroom, or send it to my email address. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.